So welcome to the SecureDynamics TechCast. With me, I have Jennifer McLarnon, who is the Chief Information Officer at the Boston College High School. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start a little bit about your journey towards becoming the CIO where you are right now. Was that a preordained? You knew where you were getting to, or like talk a little bit about your journey?
No, I never in a million years would have imagined I would be CIO. I would say maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't even know what a CIO was or what it stood for. I started my career in education and I was a teacher for about 13 years. There was one point when I was home with my boys for 6 years, I wasn't even sure I'd be rehired as a teacher. You just get in a mode where you just, at home with the kids every day and you think, how am I going to be marketable in
Yeah.
the job force? But anyway, they hired me at BC High and I taught middle school for 8 years. And I enjoyed using technology in my classes. And there was an opening for a Dean of Instructional Technology position, and I went for that. And that role was about integrating technology, the iPad specifically. And I implemented some parent programs, did a little bit of work trying to lay a foundation for standards in technology, brought in a new learning management system, Canvas, and then the director of technology job opened and I applied for it. And I really think that the CFO or COO, when she was hiring me, thought it would be 80% ed tech, 20% what I called server room stuff. And obviously I didn't know, neither of us knew. It wasn't. It was really very much technology related. And I had a little bit of learning management responsibility, right? Because we keep students at the center of our decision making. But when I got into the role, I realized that we really needed to start at the basics, and we had some infrastructure that needed to be updated. We needed to implement security policies and an information security program. So in a lot of ways, it gave me trial by fire, but I was able to learn so much because I had to sort of touch every aspect of the business. So it was not what I expected, but now that I'm in the role, I think it's, I'm 46, but for the first time, I feel like I'm in the right place. Like I love teaching, but I was always like itching for something new. And, I wanted a challenge and I certainly got it,
Wow, I mean that's certainly a very interesting way to get it, and I love it when you said you finally are in the place that you feel you should be, right? That's a wonderful feeling to be there. So
Yeah.
and also the other thing that you mentioned, which is something that people struggle with, especially when they come into a role, is, hey, this is how we do things, right? And to be able to go and kind of not question everything, but at least take a broad view assessment. How did you get over some of the people hurdles when you did that?
Well, it's interesting. I don't think that a lot of people knew the details of what was going on in the technology department, which I don't think is uncommon, right? So I went about my business looking for opportunities to make changes that would positively impact, efficiency of the enterprise, but protecting data, things like that. One thing that stands out is a hurdle was putting two-factor authentication on email accounts. And I wanted to do it, but every time I would bring it up, it was always like, well, how are we going to do this? What's a good time to do it? How are we going to get the faculty and staff to show up to turn it on? And it took, looking back, I wonder why I didn't push harder, but I thought at the time I was pushing pretty hard. I was making a great case, and then there was an incident and then a change of management too, that helped. And there was more of support to ask the faculty staff to comply, to get it done. And we got it done in 2 days, so live and learn, but that's something that jumps out as a hurdle. And, and I asked myself, what could I have done differently? I don't know. I guess live and learn.
Yeah, it's also something that it's so common in cybersecurity, right? You have an incident, suddenly all the hurdles are removed, and here you are
Right.
trying to push MFA. So one thing which you talked about briefly, which I think is huge, right? Especially given where you are, I know it's on top of your LinkedIn profile also, which is data privacy. How have you built a cohort, a community of people who understand what data privacy means, or who are able to support you? As I mean, again, it's uncharted territory for lots of people, right?
Right. And so I think the best answer would be we try to make it personal. We try to show its impact on them first, right? And then to the broader community. I think we've done a good job of pointing out some of the ways in which hackers are trying to gain access to student information, and educating them on our role and responsibility, due diligence. It's a collective. I don't look at it as my problem, it's our problem. So whenever I talk to the faculty, I very much use the term we and our, because it's not an IT problem, it's like a business issue. So and we have a very strong mission at BC High, and so it's caring for the whole person. So that's something that I've really reinforced, and they've been great, and I don't dump on them, right? They make a mistake, like we're all learning. And the hardest part of this job too is trying to remember that we think about security all day long, and they don't think about it the same way. So we take for granted that they know everything we do, and they don't. And so you have to really meet them where they are and show them the value. And we've had great success by making it personal.
Okay, one last question. What advice do you have for teenagers, high schoolers, even undergrads, in terms of why IT, why cybersecurity? What advice does Jennifer have to give them?
Well, I would say that the job market's pretty good, right? There's a lot of opportunity. And I think I'm a good example of someone who's not a tech person, but I think that any success that I've been able to have has been due to curiosity and desire to get to the root cause and follow through, right? You see a problem, you just put it on the list, and you slowly every day make incremental progress. So any young students out there, I'm teaching a course now at Assumption University, and when I talk to the students, I'm constantly encouraging them to don't be intimidated by your lack of technical skills. And in fact, you might want to pair your skills in cyber with a law degree or an MBA, because again, the issues that we're dealing with, it's a business problem. It's not necessarily IT. And certainly I'm very envious of those folks that have both, the governance and policy skills and the technical skills. And I'm all for that. But we're going to need more people than just technical folks, because everybody brings a unique perspective. And I think that's what's needed in the industry.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, truer words were never said. I think diversity as a tagline is one thing, but then having a diverse viewpoint in terms of how, even like you said, which is people don't think about security, whereas you do. So how do you get somebody who has an arts major or who just wants to get his or her job done? It's like, hey, MFA is actually friction for them, right?
Right.
In fact, one of my CISOs was joking, saying it's multi-fatigue authentication, right? So
That's
thinking
great.
about, it's one of those things. I mean, I never thought of it myself, right? Coming back to your question about being in security. Oh yeah, MFA is a given, right? MFA is not a given, because if it takes another 5 seconds and I'm getting late for my submission, that's a problem, right? So how do you kind of deal with that? So great. Again, this is an awesome conversation. Hopefully the viewers can get some value out of it. Thanks, Jennifer, for your time.
Thank you.